I have come out to the Knepp Estate and I've got out before sunrise and I'm going to run round the entire site and show you some of the highlights. Now, Knepp is a regenerative farm, and that's a place that really focuses on improving soil health and overall ecosystem well-being, as it were, all the while producing food. It's focusing on looking after its soil and all the invertebrates and insects that live in the soil. It's mycorrhizal fungi. It's not using the chemicals, it's not ploughing. It's just absolutely incredible, and it's a massive success. And the Knepp Estate is absolutely full of wildlife. So a good way for me to show you is to, and can you hear that? There's a nightingale singing in the car park. They have these routes to encourage walkers to go out, and I am going to run around the entire site this morning while the sun comes up. Absolutely incredible. So here you've got like the car park and the shop and the cafe and a big seating area to sort of chill out, use the toilets before you head out on your walk. And getting out early in the morning is a brilliant time. There's like no one around and I've got it to myself. I've got Knepp to myself. Obviously sharing it with a lot of wildlife. Right, let's go. So I'm running anti-clockwise around the Knepp Estate. There's about 16 kilometres of route, and I'm running right around the outside of it all. And just here, you see the sun is just starting to come up. This here is the Knepp Castle ruin. It's really awesome. It's a real iconic structure. It's known as like Knepp, bit out of breath running up that hill. Knepp medieval castle, built in around about 1208, something like that. It was a fortified retreat. It was used as a hunting lodge, and it once stood in the heart of a 1,000-acre Norman deer park. It looks beautiful, lit up by the morning sun, doesn't it? The sun's just coming up. And we're heading towards the mill pond now. Let's go. Isn't that beautiful? This is the Knepp mill pond. And basically I'm walking along a dam now of built up clay, a great big bank that was used to dam this stream, which then turned into a lake, the mill pond. There's a great crested grebe, there's mallards, little grebes, there's a heron flying off in the distance just over there, and the bird hides over there too, and the sun is just burning through. Now there used to be furnaces and stuff down here, so the water was used for part of that, and also they used to have eel traps to catch eels that were used for food down here too. And there's a nice information board there explaining that kind of stuff. Beautiful, eh? Getting up here early and having it to yourself is truly magical, it really is. Right. There's a herd of Longhorn cattle here because of course Knepp is a working farm, and they have ponies and cattle and pigs and deer all over the place. They're very much free to roam, and some of them have these like kind of invisible fence GPS collar things on their neck, and that's kind of how they move them around and keep them within certain areas for grazing. So it's really important when you visit, if you've got a dog with you, to keep your dog on a lead, and obviously don't get too close to the cattle. Imagine being an animal living here. It's flipping amazing. Right, I'm just going to pop over there to the very special tree. What I would say is probably the most important tree in all of Knepp. This tree here is an absolutely incredible oak tree. They call it the Knepp oak. It is absolutely ginormous. I don't think you can quite get the scale on my little camera that I've got with me this morning, but this oak is 500 plus years old. And it's absolutely incredible. It's a veteran because it's showing signs of like deterioration in places. And it's also an ancient because it's 500 plus years old. The circumference is more than 7 meters. And round here you can see something pretty interesting. So just up there in the tree are some chains. And when the Canadian Army was staying here during World War II, I assume the castle over there was being used as a fort. The Canadian Army actually used tank chains to chain up some of the limbs of this tree. Now imagine being here in a time of war, but still taking the time to look after this ancient oak tree. It's amazing, isn't it? And all the chains are just girdled around the trunk up there. And it's said that, you know, I've read the books of wilding of this place, and it's said that a guy called Ted Green, who's a bit of a tree expert, visited, and it was kind of a turning point for Knepp. Farming just wasn't working for them. They had been ploughing, and ploughing is very harmful. It can degrade the soil, it releases carbon, and a lot of these trees and other plants rely on a mycorrhizal network of fungus to communicate and share nutrients and sugars and things like that, and extract minerals and goodness from the soil. And by ploughing that up, you're destroying that all important network, and you're also adding compaction to the landscape. And the oak tree roots, a lot of them are actually quite shallow, and you can damage them with a plough. So a couple of the oak trees have died as a result of the ploughing, and they leave them in the landscape. You'll notice lots of dead wood laying around like this. Dead trees and stuff. Now, dead wood is a vital part of the landscape. It's home to many invertebrates. It plays a crucial role in the ecosystem. It's a natural part of the world, dead wood. So it's nice that they leave it all laying around. And lots of insects and creatures can get in there, break down. Birds can feed in there. The cows and stuff love to scratch up against it and stuff. And that's the way we can get the carbon contained within this wood locked into the ground by invertebrates. We've got to get out of this habit of keep clearing wood up and selling it. We've got to leave it in the landscape where we can. But yeah, so Ted Green visited, spoke to Isabella Tree and Charlie Burrell, the owners of Knepp, who are heroes of mine. Like, I'd love it if they saw this video, I really would. Absolute heroes of mine. And what they've done is pioneering and incredible and inspiring. And it takes a lot to do that, especially with a farming community that wants to be a bit set in their ways with things. And I've worked in the farming industry as a shepherd. I've got a good idea about it. And they've kind of broken the mould, and it's really amazing. So the tree, they have got one of the great big oak trees, and they've got it that died largely as a result of the ploughing. They've got it in the shop, and you can have a look at it, and it's kind of like a monument to the old ways. So yeah, that's what kind of happened here. They wanted to get their trees looked at, and Ted Green kind of helped them out. Anyway, I'll waffle on, and I could literally talk about Knepp all day long. It's crazy, but I want this video to be me running around Knepp one morning at sunrise. There's a couple of deer just come out over there of the hedge, and I'm filming this film on a little action camera, so I can't do many close-ups. So yeah, that is the Knepp oak. It's incredible, isn't it? Right, let's get running. Look at this as well, poo. Poo is an important part of the ecosystem, and because the livestock at Knepp, there's a white stork just appeared just over there. I'll talk a bit about them later. White stork just walked behind that Longhorn cow. So I'll talk a bit about the white stork later, because that's really exciting. So back onto the poo, back onto the cow pat. Now, because the livestock at Knepp are not religiously medicated, I don't think they're medicated at all, but I can imagine there's always going to be reasons for medication. But basically, because they're not highly medicated like most of our farms are, the quality of the poo is much better. And lots of insects and beetles and larvae and stuff will break down the poo. It's basically a nursery for life. And that poo contains lots of important minerals like potassium and sulfur and things like that, and the insects will lock those nutrients into the soil, and it's thought that it's saving the farming industry something like £40 million a year insects in larvae, breaking down and cleaning up all the cowpats. So it's an important part of the system. And when I find an old crusty poo, I sometimes break it open to see what life's in there. But hey, look at this gorgeous sunrise. Isn't it great? The planes have just started coming in now, because there's an airport nearby and we get the planes coming through. The oaks are just dotted around the landscape, and the Woodland Trust found something like 500 plus notable oak trees. Notable for different reasons, like history, the fact they're veteran, the fact they're ancient. So, and I don't think they've surveyed the whole place yet, so imagine there's just so many beautiful oak trees here. And what a place to be right now, running with the sun behind me. Right, now I'm leaving the Castle Estate, the Knepp Estate's office, and I'm going to head through into this little woodland, and I'm going to go past a windmill. So here in the village of Shipley is the windmill. Look at that, isn't it beautiful? Shipley Windmill. Now most of us know what windmills are for. They use the wind to turn cogs to do things like grinding down flour. What I like about this windmill in Shipley, look at the sun coming up behind it, is it's the fictional home of Jonathan Creek, the BBC detective guy that I used to watch when I was younger. There you go, right, let's go. Now just in the scrub, there off the footpath, is a nightingale singing. There you go, and you'll find when you're walking around Knepp, there's just nightingales singing everywhere in sort of May time, and cuckoos. I'll talk about cuckoos when I hear them. So nightingales are a bird in severe decline. They arrive here from Africa, and the males sing their song really loud to woo the females from high in the sky. They've got an incredible repertoire and an incredible song, nightingales. And they're a real charm to take the time to sit and listen to. Right, let's keep going. Now I'm just on the blue route, and there's a little pub, the only pub you go past on the route. This is the Countryman Inn. And it is a nice little place to stop. They've got a little shop in there. Get a drink and something to eat. And sit in the garden. And enjoy the swallows flying over, like they are now. And then head on the rest of your day. A lot of people wonder why the handles are like that. The handles are up high so horse riders can use them. I just thought I'd do another little bit about soil health while I'm here. You can see this bit's quite, like, in the past been a bit boggy. But it's been a really dry spring, so it's all dry now. But when soil is ploughed, sprayed with fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, the soil just dies. And the soil at Knepp apparently was impossible to farm. And with more modern farming methods of just mistreating the soil, it became just so compact and thick. And you think about the invertebrates and the worms and all the little holes and airways they make within the soil. You break open a clump of soil, it should be like full of insects, and that helps drainage. But what can happen if you mistreat your soil is it can just become claggy, boggy and disgusting and prone to flooding. But with a more healthy soil ecosystem, it can soak up that water much more like a sponge. And that's obviously what's happening here. It's dealing with floods a lot better, which is really important going forward with the climate breakdown. We only need one more spot. Oh, there's a deer right there. Oh, you won't be able to see it through there. A deer just watching me do this piece to camera. Honestly, you're just surrounded by life all the time. Another one. I've lost my track now. Where was I? There's only one more master they need back here to deal with preventing flooding and preventing drought. That is the beaver. One day we can have licensing to release them now. So here's an important tree I'm going to tell you about. Hear that? Cuckoo. In April I opened my bill, In May, I sing night and day. In June, I change my tune. July, away I must fly. Ain't it great? Another fast declining bird that's doing well here at Knepp. Cuckoo is an onomatopoeia for the noise they make. Cuckoo! And they lay their eggs in the nests of other birds, such as dunnocks and reed warblers. And they're here at Knepp. Every now and again you hear them calling and even dueling. Where was I? Pussy willow. So, pussy willow is the name given to the genus Salix. The willows and the sallows. And I think this is goat willow. Goat willow is really important for Knepp. The symbol of Knepp is the purple emperor butterfly. More around in the summer, an incredible feisty butterfly, big old things. They'll even go for swallows apparently. And their food, their grubs rely on goat willow. And why we call it pussy willow, I believe, you see these catkins here, so once the willow is pollinated on the wind, it produces these fruits, these seeds with lots of hairs on them, like little beards. They look like cat's paws, which is why we call them pussy willows. And they're everywhere around here, and they rely on bare soil. Their seeds need to fall on bare soil, so the pigs help to make that happen with all their rootling around in the soil. And that's really good for the soil. Ah, hear that? That purring, that is a turtle dove. The purring of the call of another red bird, turtle dove. How about that? Honestly, Knepp, a farm, and the blackcap singing, Knepp, a farm, is more alive than most nature reserves. It's amazing. Hear that? Chiff chaff, chiff chaff. Now along the route you'll find these little platforms up in the trees, tree houses I call them, although they're not tree houses because they're not houses. Oh, look at that. You've got these wonderful little platforms up in the trees that you can just come up and stand in and look out across the wildland. It's amazing. And I get up really early and listen to the dawn chorus. I spent nearly 2 hours in one of these tree platforms yesterday on the International Dawn Chorus Day. It's amazing. Right, so look out for these. I think there's like 4. They're great. And a lot of the wildlife doesn't know you're up here because it's not used to looking for us up in trees. So you get a nice little like intimate view of what's going on. But you have to be quiet, of course. Right. And always shut gates. Any gates you see, shut them. We don't want deer getting up there or going out onto the roads. Always shut gates. That goes with any farm you're on. So here is a very important part of Knepp, just over there towards the sun, so it's quite hard to see. Just over there is an oak tree, right in the middle. It's a stork nest, the nest of a white stork, a bird that's extinct from the UK for 600 years. They bred here for the first time in 2020. Absolutely amazing. Last year they had 53 chicks fledge because there's more and more storks being bred, joining them, being released here, and it's part of the White Stork project. And you can sit back here. They often have Knepp volunteers with their scopes so you can see the nest, and of course there's the White Stork webcam as well. So it's really significant. I love seeing the white stork here. It's fascinating. One goes out to get food. They're on chicks at the moment. One goes out to get food and brings it back. When they arrive back, they throw their heads back, clacking their beaks. Absolutely amazing. And they migrate down to Africa for our winter and then head back. There's a cuckoo joining us. We've got a nightingale over there at the moment as well. So yeah, white stork are a real symbol. What's the word? a real flagship bird to be like, hey, look what we can do. We can bring back white stork. It's an iconic, exciting bird, and it shows us hope. It shows us excitement. It's a scary and exciting time to be alive. Look where all the pigs have been rutting all this soil. Absolutely amazing, so important. Yeah, so that's where the white stork nest is. And I remember watching this nest. I've been coming to Knepp now for 5 years, something like that. And I remember seeing that stork nest on the internet, and then I remember seeing it with my own eyes for the first time. I was so excited. And every now and again, and I've seen white stork this morning, every now and again you'll just see a white stork walking around feeding. They're feeding on things like worms and mice and moles and anything they can get hold of, and even small birds apparently. And sadly they've been recorded eating hairbands, because people's hairbands snap and fall out and they look a bit like worms. But I could go on about that kind of thing all day. But yeah, and you just see stork just walking around feeding. It's crazy. And then now and again you'll see one come over, and there'll be like 3 or 4 more of them just all circling the sky. Absolutely brilliant sight. And yeah, and they're here at Knepp for our summer, and then they head back off to Africa. But they've also got some disabled stork here. They got a load from Poland, and they're about on the ground, and they do actually nest on the ground as well, whereas these storks prefer to nest up high. So yeah, the white storks of Knepp. It's pretty cool getting here for sunrise, because look, I've got this to myself. One year I stopped here for a bit in the early morning when I was running, and a stork just came out of the mist feeding. It was incredible. Yeah. Right, we're gonna run around a bit more, and then it's coming towards the end of my run around Knepp. Just to mention, along the route you've got these interpretation boards with a little map showing you where you are and your route. So I've ran right around here today. So it's really well signposted and well laid out, Knepp. You can find your way around easy. You can't rely on your phone. You can't rely on Google Maps, because there's no phone signal in over half the place. But the maps are really easy to use, so you won't get lost. Listen, hear that great spotted woodpecker. Let's listen again. We're going to do it. There, great spotted woodpecker drumming on the oak tree. That's a territorial thing. Sometimes they peck to look for food, peck to excavate a nest hole. This woodpecker has found a particular bit of like dead wood, probably. It's got a good bit of resonance about it. It's banging on the tree. Isn't that amazing? And you hear that all round. Look at that, just down there. There's some deer. Deer just working their way across the path, feeding up. Okay, so I'm just finishing off my run now. Red kite in the sky there. And over there is the Knepp campsite, just in there. You can camp here, you can stay. I think they've still got the yurts. They've got some proper tree houses you can stay in. Look at that red kite. You can't do this place justice on a film like this. You've got to get here. So I'm going to finish off my run around Knepp. Not your average kind of tour guide video. It's literally me running with a camera. Look at that red kite coming over. Amazing. There's the yurts. Go through this gate. I'll show you the little shop and stuff. There's the cold water. Well, obviously it's cold water, but there's the freshwater swimming area. And the blackbirds announcing this little shepherd's hut. Another little cabin you can stay in. And that's the way to the campground. And it's guests only, but you can't have dogs, which is why I've never stayed there. And barriers for all the campers. And here's the little camping shop in there. It's open all the time and it operates a little honesty box. Should we have a little look? Look, this is open all night long. Just come in, get what you need, and stick your money in the honesty box. Isn't that great, eh? Isn't that kind? So yeah, I hope you've there's the old books. I'm bored of what's going on, so I hope you've enjoyed my video of a run around Knepp. It's such a magnificent place, and if the people at Knepp ever fancy putting me up so I can make some more awesome content, then please get in touch, because I'd love it. Well, get wild at Knepp. Thanks for watching.